And again, we go back to our drawing. We'll see that on our drawing we have specific measurements that we need to use along the top and along the edge in order to establish these angles right here. From the top corner inward, it's 1 3/4, and from the top corner down, it's 1 3/8. So you would measure those pieces with your rule, establish the 2 points. Once you have the points established, again, put your ruler down, use a scratch awl, and scribe the lines. Now you need to do that to the top 2 corners of each of the side pieces. All right, the next thing is to cut the angles. We wouldn't want to cut these with aviation snips because we'd leave a sharp edge. So we want to cut these with the squaring shears here. I also want to make a little cut on each corner at the bottom. I want to take off approximately this much. And the reason for that is so that it fits down in my box a little bit better. I don't have any problems of it fitting into the bottom of the box. So while I'm here, I'm also going to just trim these corners right here. Okay, so to use the squaring shears, we need to look between the yellow guard and the blue blade. Get your eyes down, bring your foot up and get it on the pedal, the foot pedal here, and then bring the blade down so it touches across your line. You'll see it very clearly here. It's laying on your line. And then once established there, you just raise up and cut it. Okay, we can do that to all the other corners as well. And I want to trim that little speck off each end. Okay, so I end up with it looking like this right here. This. Is I need to punch and drill for my hinge. So the first thing I need to do is establish where the holes in my hinge are going to go. And I'll need to use this jig. Okay, and right now you'll see that there are 2 nails that actually the hinge fits in between exactly. We'll use that a little later. We're going to use this a little later also. But from the red lines that I have marked on the jig, you're going to use your black permanent marker again, and across from each of those red lines, and again near the center of the hinge, you want to punch a hole. You don't really need to center punch before you do this. You just have to, again, get in the approximate area and punch the hole. So we'll do all 5 of these. In fact, I prefer you probably don't center punch because you dent the hinge or deform the hinge a little bit as you do that. So this works best. A lot of students want to bend their sheet metal before they do this. You gotta finish your hinge and drill it with your sheet metal before you can bend your sheet metal. Okay, so I've got this side completed. Now I want to fold the hinge and use those marks as my guide to punch the other side. I'll get everything lined up. Okay, all holes punched. Now the next thing that's going to happen is I'm going to drill this with using this and the sheet metal. Okay, so place the hinge in between the nails again, and as if we're going to sandwich something together. The bottom will go on the bottom with the lines facing up, and right in the hinge, right like the hinge is going to be the bread, and this is the peanut butter and jelly. Okay, and then the top will go on with the lines of the top facing against the lines of the bottom. As far as which side goes where, the tab side, you can see each one has an established tab side. That goes out, that faces out, and the other side goes up against the hinge. Okay, now fold the hinge down, so again creating that sandwich effect. Pull this off the table so you don't end up drilling into the table, and push it all the way up tight and into position. You'll then need 2 blocks. We need to raise it up so we're above the lip of the jig. We'll need one block clamped here to hold everything and one block clamped here to hold everything. And we'll use our clutch clamps. Okay, one on this side. And one on this side. Okay, again, we're going to use an 1/8" drill bit. The reason we're using 1/8" is because we're going to use 1/8" pop rivets. That's what's going to hold everything together. So that's the size holes we're drilling. We have 5 holes to drill here. When you drill, you want to put your elbow on the table and your drill basically into your chest and your 2 hands on top of the drill. Variable speed drills run at about half speed. Some pressure on it. The reason your elbow is on the table so when you break through you can catch yourself. Okay, all 5 holes are drilled. Clamps off. Okay, here's what we have. We have our pieces here all drilled out, holes in them, and all the holes in the hinge, everything lines up now. All right, at the bar folder, we're going to start bending our sheet metal. We have to set the bar folder with a ruler though. Don't rely on this gauge. This gauge is not accurate. So inside the bar folder, there's a set of fingers here, and I'm kind of bumping into them as I go along. You have to make sure you get up on top of one of the fingers. And then I want you to turn the handle here until you get it to 3/8 of an inch. That's how much. That's how far back we want the fingers established. Okay, so 3/8 of an inch. So get on one of those fingers and establish it at 3/8 of an inch. Okay, the first bend will be to the bottom. We're going to place the bottom all the way in and up against the fingers, and then we're going to pull our handle all the way over. All the way over until you can't go any further. Okay, you saw me move something here, and what I was moving were the stops. This stop was in place, and so was this stop. So we have to make sure those are backed off when we do this particular bend. Now you'll notice the bend is not completely closed. It's bent most of the way, but not completely closed. So we want to close that up and create a hem. And so we'll pitch that between the top and the bottom of our bar folder, so we close that gap up. Okay, now the other piece also has a 3/8 inch bend, and that's the top piece. And when we bend this, we don't want to bring it all the way over. We have a line right here established on the handle, and when that line gets up to the line right here on the top, that's when we stop. That'll be the correct angle that we need. Okay, and then just push it on back, and we've created the angle that we need. Okay, at the box and pan break, we're going to bend the rest of our front hem almost to 90 degrees, just a little bit short of 90 degrees, so we use this set of fingers right here in the middle. So the box and pan break, the fingers are regulated with this lever here, raises and lowers, and the break actually occurs right on the crease. So you'll want to put your piece of metal in so it's lined up with the crease, and bring the fingers down. This is easier if you have two people working on this. Get it lined up. Okay. All right. Then lock the handle. That's a position that's straight out, and you might want to just hold that handle. Then bring the brake up, and just go a little bit short of 90. A little short of 90. Then let it back down. Okay, now once that's done, we go back over to the bar folder and we're going to bend our seams right here. The seams are a 1/2 inch, so again we have to make some changes here to the bar folder. We were set at 3/8, and now we want to go to a 1/2 inch. So I have to move the fingers again until I get to the established 1/2 inch. Okay. Now I want to bend the seam, but I don't want to bend my hem, so I have to be down to the end of the bar here, where the hem will actually miss the bar as it's being bent up. And because I want to bend it at 90 degrees, I'm going to put the stop into place, so it will stop at 90 degrees. So I want to push this against the fingers, bring it on up. It'll hit the stop and stop at 90 degrees. Okay, the opposite end is done same way. A little harder to reach. It's again better if you have 2 people doing this rather than 1. Okay, and we created our 90-degree bends here on the ends. We have to do the same thing here with the top. However, there is no finger on the corner right here, so I want to show you what's happening here. Okay, you can see it falls in. There's only one finger. It's probably about right here, so it's hard to establish that line right along there where you need to be. So what we have to do is we have to hold it in place, get it lined up. Then we bring this up and pinch it and make sure the line is where it should be. And if it is, you can finish the bend. Okay, Mr. Kern, I'm going to ask that you step over here and help me with this one because I can't reach both. Okay, so I've got it established. He'll bring it up and pinch. I'll say good, and then he'll bend. Okay, there we are. Okay, we've got our seams bent. We've got our hems bent. Now we need to bend the box. Okay, we'll go back to the box and pan brake for that. We'll start with the bottom piece. Okay, back to the same set of fingers we were at before. We're going to put the hem side towards us, and we're going to push all the way in until we get to our established brake line. Once we have that, fingers down. Okay, then bring it up to 90 degrees. Now, it will probably go past the other piece of metal. It'll slide past that just a little bit. And usually you have to give it a little extra just because it'll spring back. Okay, there's our first side. Okay, and then our second side. Again, we're looking at the brake line. Make sure we're on that. That's the important part. Okay, and then bring it up to 90. And again, just give it a little extra. It'll pop back. Okay, looks good. All right, there's our box. Part of our box. Here's the other part. Okay, now here we're going to rely on the angles to come together. Once they come together, then we're going to stop bending. So again, we'll go to the deep part of the line first with the hem against us. Okay, and then we'll bring the brake up until the angles touch, and we'll stop. Don't go any further than that. Okay, and then to this piece. Okay, again till the angles touch. Okay, now we want to see how that fits against our box here. Okay, so just hold it up here like this. If it's a little bit short, as it is, I'm going to go back, put this back into the brake, box and pan brake, and I'm going to give it just a tug here, bend it back just a hair. I'll do the same thing on this side. Doesn't need much. Now let's see how that fits. Okay, that looks like about right. Okay, so I've got that fitting to the other portion of the box. All right, now sometimes, and it works out this way, that sometimes these corners overlap a little bit. So we need to clean those out. I like to clean them out. You don't have to, but it makes a little cleaner line. So what I'm going to do is cut the part of the metal that's the lowest. So I'm going to just cut this piece of sheet metal that's underneath here. This is my aviation snips. Cut it out to the corner. Okay, there's the piece that came out of it. Okay, this one was a little bit tight, so here I'm going to cut the top because it's just easier for me to reach at. So I cut the top, take a little bit out of there. This one here is almost perfect. I don't know if I need to do anything with that one. This one here, again, established underneath, so I'll take that one underneath. Okay, so just clean it out a little bit so I clean out those corners. Now, because you probably bent those corners, you need to go over here onto the 2x4 and just flatten them back out. And get them straightened out again. That just makes for a little tighter fit with your sides if you do that. And that's very typical. That will happen when you're doing this. Okay, now the next thing we have to fasten on is the two sides. So I usually turn my bluing fluid to the inside. That's going to fit in like this. Okay. Then we're going to put this over top of the 2x4 and actually drill on this. Now you will need a partner to help hold this while one person drills.
Can you drill?
Yep. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to push in. I'm going to push in and down so that's tight to the corner, and then we'll drill that hole. Okay, now just slide that off a little bit. I'm going to take my pop rivet gun and a rivet, and the rivet, the way this works is you put the stem, open the handles, put the stem in, and then let the handles go, and the handles will grip the pop rivet so it won't fall out. Okay, then right on the 2x4, push down and get it all the way down, seat it tight, and then with holding it in place like that with your hand, I reach with my left hand and just begin to expand the rivet. Okay, I need to re-grip, slide forward, and pop it off. Okay, so I've got the first one nice and tight. The stem of the rivet's right in the back of the gun. Just open it up, it'll fall out. Okay, now this side right here, this isn't as easy to get on there because we got to deal with the hem. The hem is bumping into this all the time. Okay, so I'm going to get that into place. And something else I might want to do too. If I'm not real sure whether my piece is square or not, I can take the square and hold it on the box like this. Okay, and I'll tell the person that's drilling, be prepared, it may not hit the wood, okay? All right, you see I'm holding the square, go ahead and put that in.
Doing this one?
Yep, let me do the top one. And they didn't hit the wood because it's a little bit off. So, again, we'll go ahead and put this rivet in. Same thing as we're going to push down nice and tight. I'm going to squeeze the handles together. I have to re-grip, so open and again re-grip and then squeeze again. Okay, nice.